Brilliant. All right, we're all standing. Let's just think about being the tallest we can be by lifting our arms overhead, feet hip distance apart, toes forwards, breathing in, lifting the arms wide, and then stay in that stretch. Maybe if you feel ready, we rise up onto the balls of the feet and stretch into the fingertips. Just pausing a minute to stretch really tall, reaching into the fingertips, and then breathing out, we can float the arms back down. Try and work through all those little joints of the toes until the heels come down to the floor. Chest wide open here. A few more rounds. So the thought for today, we're going to try and work out, are we more of a flarer of the hips or a tailbone tucker? There are different ways we can move the body, and it really impacts how we stretch the hip flexors, the way we hold ourselves and things like warrior one. So it's fine to be one or other, but it's quite nice to have a go at being the other and just to feel the difference that makes. So a few more rounds. You can sway the head side to side. Try and spread the fingers wide, wide palms, reaching up and then pressing the air down, shoulders back and down. The next one will be our last one, like this. So breathing in, reaching up, roll up forwards onto the balls of the feet and stretch. This time, the next time when we lift the arms, we're only going to take the right arm to shoulder height. The other one will keep going, just to make you start to think. So as soon as we get to shoulder height, the left arm keeps going, and feel that stretch to the side wall and up to the ceiling, stretching, so slightly different focus, and then float the arms down. Then we'll be on the other side. So only to make sure you're concentrating, lift up. So this time, the left fingers to the side wall, the right arm keeps going up, feeling that stretch sideways and overhead. Breathing out, floating down. One more like that each side. And now see, when you lift up, your ribs flaring. So floating up, right arm, shoulder height, left, deep breath in. Now there'll be a tendency now to tilt the pelvis under, tuck the bottom under, or work more on pulling the ribs together to get that length up the body, or hopefully a little bit of both. You're feeling your calf muscles if you're rising up onto the balls of the feet. So last time, the other side. Rising up, deep breath in. Shoulders back. So let's tilt the pelvis under, bottom tucked under, ribs together, and then floating the arms down. Shrug out the arms and bend the knees. Great. We're going to go for leg swings just to warm up the lower joints. Weight into the left foot. We're thinking about going north and south with the leg, but let's add on a flexion of the foot, toes up to the ceiling as the legs come forwards, and then it goes behind you, point and lift. So you'll feel that in the posterior chain of muscles. So forwards, the quads, point back. Find a wall, a chair if you need it, and let's just swing. Now it's here that we could overarch the spine to get this hip extension. So feel a slight tilt in the tailbone. So then we're really strengthening the glutes. Not too ballistic with the throws, a little bit of control here. Your arms can go in the opposite direction for stability if you're not holding a wall. Last time, pointing and flexing, and then let's take it to the other side. Plant the toes of your standing leg, and let's go. So we flex the toes up, the leg comes forwards, point, and extend the hip back. See if you can match one movement with a phase of the breath. Maybe breathing in to come forwards, breathing out, squeezing in. So we don't want so much control that we're actually clenching, a little bit of a free swing, but just no flinging. Great. Okay, thinking east and west, so we're back to the first leg. We'll come in front of the standing leg. Now, yesterday we did a little bit with the stabilizing muscles of the knees and the ankles by deviating from that straight path. So similar here, when the leg goes side to side, as the foot comes to the side, try and tilt it slightly, so you're just getting a little bit more movement, working the outer knee, outer ankle. Same when the leg comes across the body, tilting in, so the ankle bone pulling up towards you. So it's a small movement, but we're just working those stabilizers for the joints without weight bearing on the joints. So a nice safe way to get that mobility in the ankle. Now, what I was doing yesterday, but my standing leg glutes are really feeling this. I wonder if I'm on my own. Last time, and then let's switch legs. So side to side, north and west, east and west. Where am I? And with that slight tilt, you can barely notice it. Small movement, just more thinking about the intention of curling the ankle bone up and curling the inner ankle bone to the ceiling on the side. Side to side, thinking also about the mobility in the hips, so swinging outer hip, inner thigh. Brilliant. Shake out the legs. We'll take the legs a little bit wider for a leg stretch now. So let's bend the left knee, lift the right toes, and the other side. So take it side to side, hands on the tops of the legs. Nice deep breath in and out of the nose. A little bit deeper, one more, set each side. And we're going to take a wide leg fold with a chest opener, just to gear up the backs of the legs for the standing saw. So when you're ready, legs possibly a little bit wider, chin to chest, roll down, find the floor, bend the knees if you need to. We'll start with the right hand on the floor, the left arm like a clam opening, reach for the ceiling. You're going to an inner thigh stretch on that right leg. Breathe out, float the arm down. Other side, breathe in, open the chest wide. Breathing out, returning. 3 more sets each side. Working the chest, the rotation of the spine. And stretching the backs of the legs. A little bend in the knees, fine. But we don't want to go into the standing saw without preparing the spine for this rotation. And the backs of the legs, hamstrings can be a little bit temperamental. Not good to introduce a sudden big stretch. All right, so we're on our last set here. And then let's have a reminder of that standing saw. So bend the knees, roll up through the spine. So we're taking the left hand, the back of the hand, towards the little toe on a pulse movement, and breathing in into a wide T. The breath out, we pulse, reach, return. Are we ready? Breathing in, and we fold and reach, reach, return, breathe in, and reach, reach, return. So now the body knows what it's doing. We can start to think about when we stand tall, how easy it is for the ribs to flare out with the breath in. So have a go. When you breathe in, try to channel the air into the back of the body. So we keep some engagement in the upper abdominals and keep the ribs a little bit closer together. A little bit of a forced out breath with those 2 pulses. We'll just get deeper into those core muscles. Get the powerhouse turned on. 1 more set each side. Chest open wide, but the ribs still connected. And then let's roll the shoulders. Toe and heel, the feet in. So we're going to carry on with this idea or awareness. It's just awareness building of how we use the pelvis and the ribs to give us stability in the core. So we're going to take, like sun salutations, but to take warrior one, warrior two, and triangle. So if we come to the front of your space, take a deep breath in and stretch overhead. Then breathing out, pressing the air down, coming to your forward fold. Push just to hold the ankles, shake out the head. You can swing the arms around your feet for this first one, just to ease out and find yourself into your forward fold. Fingertips to the floor, your right foot is stepping back to warrior one. Slide your foot back, lower the heel at roughly 45 degrees. Hands onto the front knee and lift. Now let's immediately go into lifting the arms overhead. How far apart are your front ribs? So let's put the hands on the hips and see if we can draw the ribs together and a little bit of a tilt in the tailbone. We're getting a hip flexor stretch here on the back leg. Now, with the hips still square to the front, let's see if we can re-extend the arms overhead, keeping this rib connection. So let's take a moment to stretch overhead. The front knee is bent, hips square to the front. And now for warrior two, we change the angle of the foot at the back to more like a 90-degree angle. So lift onto the ball of the foot and lower the heel, opening the hips out to the side and come to your warrior two. So again, we want to try and quieten the ribs down a little bit, tailbone pointing down to the floor so we still have that vertical stacking up through the body. Knee open wide. Okay, so we've gone through our two positions. Let's come back to warrior one. Come onto the ball of the foot, swoop your arm forwards and up. Ribs come together and reach. Very easy for the warrior one to become a flared back bend. We're going for control and stability in the core. Once more, warrior two. Come onto the ball of the foot and open. Re-establish that vertical line up the center of the body. Shoulders back and down. Slight pelvic tilt. Inner thigh stretch. Chest open wide. Last set each side. We're coming to our warrior one. The toes have to tilt in order to allow the hips to come square to the front. Close the ribs. We can lunge forwards to get the hip flexors stretch, the work into the back calf, but avoiding that opening of the ribs. And back to warrior two, last time. The last thing we're going to do on this side is a triangle, but with a bit of a twist to it. So let's straighten this front leg. Arms wide, back of the hand down this front arm, and let's just first of all feel a nice stretch here. Now, the twist is we're going to reach the top arm all the way overhead, palms facing down. Look up beyond the armpit, and now pause for a moment. What we'll do is we'll lift the top arm, internally rotate, palms facing the back wall, and wrap it around the back as we look down at the floor. Chest open wide, top shoulder is stacked over the lower shoulder. We're getting an inner thigh stretch, we're gripping the floor with the feet, and let's go again. Breathing in, the arm comes overhead as we look up, look beyond the armpit, and the breath out. Turn the gaze down, wrap the leg, opening the chest, that top shoulder right back. And again, following your own breath, it doesn't have to be in time with me. Feeling that expansive breath, chest opening. Last time, and then we finish this side and repeat to the other. Lovely stretch across the hip, the breath out. We take that bind, maybe you can even find the top hip. To come out, we're bending this front knee and we'll cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot and step to the front of your space. Roll up through the spine, take a nice deep breath in, stretching overhead, hands meet, breathe out heart center. We're doing all right, the other side. Stand tall, chest open wide, take a deep breath in and breathe. Breathe out, pressing the air down, flat back fold to a full fold. Bow the head, crown of the head to the earth. Okay, bend the knees, fingers to the floor, your other foot stepping back. Lower the heel at an angle, find your balance, lift through the upper body, tilt the pelvis and find a hip flexor stretch on that other leg, the back leg. Okay, so let's have the hands connecting the ribs and your belly and the crests of the hips. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, ribs come together and the pelvis tilts up towards the ribs. Let's try and keep that pulling as we lift the arms overhead. Shoulders back and down. Feel like my hands on that front shin. Really power into the front leg, yet grip the floor with both feet. Feeling the stretch in the hip flexors here. Deep breath in, and we toggle between here and warrior two. So gently peel the back heel, lower at an angle, a bigger angle, and take your warrior two. Front knees charging forwards, over the toes in the same direction, inner thigh stretch, long through the center of the body, trying to avoid this following the front arm or arching back, a really straight line, so we're being the tallest we can be. All right, when you're ready, we're going between warrior one and warrior two. So lift the heel. This is to allow us to realign the hips to the front and also to protect the knee. We're remembering our ribs together, chest open wide, vertical line. Warrior one and warrior two, just feeling the shape, lengthening into those fingertips overhead, connecting with the floor, chest open wide. I know your arms may be getting tired. Stick with it. We've just got the last couple of rounds. So the back leg's really straight here, slight tilt in the tailbone will give us a lovely hip flexor release here. And we take the stretch down the back of the leg down to the calf. We'll make the next our last round, and then we're coming to that Trikonasana with the arm bind. Ribs together, at least at the end of the exhalation. Okay, so for our triangle, the front knee is bent, we straighten, flip the palms towards me, and we'll hinge. We're working towards the top shoulder, stacking on top of the lower shoulder, and we're going to come all the way up and over till the palm faces down, and we can see beyond the armpit. Oh, that's where we're aiming for. Okay, so we lift through the top arm, internally rotate so the palm faces the back wall. We turn our gaze and look down. Just so that we're getting a stretch, release across the side of the neck. Make it a continuous movement. So we turn the head slowly, as long as it takes to take the arm overhead and breathe in. The breath out, controlling, calming down the nervous system, movement with breath. Chest open wide. See for the last couple of repetitions if we can grip the floor. Of course, if you need to bend this front knee and reset at any point, that's absolutely fine. Just enjoying the stretch, release along the side of the neck into the shoulder. Last one, and then we'll be coming down to the mat. So again, to come out, we bend our front knee, pivot onto the back ball of the foot, fingers find the floor, and we step to the front. Roll up through the spine, open the arms wide, take a deep breath in, keep breathing until the palms meet, and then breathe out, lowering the hands to heart center. Time to come down to the mat. So when you're ready. Your way, come down to the floor. You can take a roll down, however you like, and let's meet on all fours. We'll go through cow pose to child pose. So we can breathe in, clawing into the fingers, drawing the chest forward, shoulders away from the ears, and the breath out, sitting back on the heels. Pushing away from the floor, stretch the back of the body. Breathing in, clawing into the fingers, drawing your chest forward, shoulders down and back. Breath out, back to the heels. So we can almost get the benefits of kind of push-pull action on the hands. So feel like there are sticky pads on the hands, so you can press away to sit back on the heels, and you can draw the palms towards your knees, not literally, but they're stuck there, that pulling action to come up to a cow pose. Last time. And then coming up to a neutral spine, we're going to extend the right leg behind, plant the ball of the foot, and lean some energy into it to get a calf stretch. Let's lower the right hip so it's in line with the left, and lengthen top of the head to the wall in front of you. Now tilt the pelvis under, pubic bone curling up to the ribs, and the ribs knitted together as you lift the back leg. Keeping it straight, keeping that length in the leg right to the heel of the foot. Doesn't matter if it doesn't come up as high as the hip, rather that than go too far and arch the spine. So we're maintaining that pelvic tilt. Now, if you feel ready to, you can extend the opposite left arm and start to feel length from the fingertips of the front wall to the heel of the back wall. Start to feel that length, but the strength, almost a hammock created by drawing the front ribs together. Breathing deeply without losing that connection between the ribs. Feeling length across the back of the body. Almost feel like you're pulling the thigh bone out of the hip socket. Breathing calmly, finding length. If you need to lower the back leg, still you can keep it in an extended position, or even the fingertips on the floor, and still find length in the back of the body. Wherever you are, float the hand and the knee back down. Tuck the toes under, a bit of yoga for the toes, and let's circle out those wrists. Well done. Shake out, we've got the other side, balancing cat. Hands on the floor, extend your left leg or the other leg, curl the toes under and send some energy down that straight back leg, and just pause to get a calf stretch and start to feel length along the body. With that pelvic tilt, a smaller distance now between the pubic bone and the ribs coming together so the shoulder blades will part slightly, and then we'll lift the back leg. So it will feel heavy because we're engaging those huge, powerful muscles of the glutes, the upper thigh, the back, and we're flexing the foot so the heel is actively reaching the back wall. We have a little bit more length through the tailbone. The ribs are together, so we have the strength lifting the whole abdominal wall up. Try to keep the shoulder over the wrist. I know I'm talking just to trick you into holding it for longer. Let's extend the opposite arm, palm facing inwards towards that center line of the mat, so thumbs up to the ceiling. Now reach through that middle finger of the lifted arm. Don't forget, if we want to lower the back leg, we can still be energetically lengthening through the back leg. Breathing deeply and lengthening. So the arm reaching energetically forward, the heel reaching energetically back. Feel a little bit more length. And then float the hand and the knee down. Sit back on the heels, give the wrists a little bit of a release. We're coming onto our bellies to a supported locust. So this is where the upper abdominal strength is important. So for our version of the locust, we're going to have the hands on the floor, palms down by our hips. Now, point the toes, curl the shoulders away from the floor, and a small lift of the head. So Pressing the hands into the floor, lengthening your toes to the back wall, crown of the head forwards. Think length over height. Draw the ribs together and then slowly float the head down as you exhale. Stick with this. Hands can come a little wider if that feels a more supportive pressure on the floor to give you a little bit of a lift. Breathing in without flaring the ribs. Exhaling, lowering down. 2 more like this. Breathing in to lengthen. If you're feeling strong, maybe the legs float up. Squeezing the glutes, ribs must come together here, and then floating down as you breathe out. Last one like this. Breathe in, avoiding flaring of the ribs, rolling the shoulders back, lengthen forwards and backwards, and then lower down. I'm going to be mean and ask you to roll the shoulders back, lift once more as you breathe in. As you breathe out, lower only halfway. Breathe in and re-lift. Shoulders rolling back. Breathing out halfway lower. Just twice more, you can stick with me. Breathe in and lift, lengthen, reach into those toes. Breathing out halfway. We've got the last one, stay with me. Breathing in, rolling away from the mat, ribs together. Breathing out all the way down. Take a puppy pose, bottom up in the air, over the knees, and walk the fingers forwards. Here, sway the hips side to side. And then add on any exploration, any extra movement. If it feels right, you sit all the way back on the heels and have a little wobble side to side, shimmy out the hips. Brilliant. We're ready to come onto our backs. Come onto your spine, knees into the chest. We're coming to a dying bug. Arms up to the ceiling. We can go lower intensity. Opposite arm and leg extends away from the center line. The breath out, we return. Higher intensity, legs, arms lift. Breathing in, extending away from the center line. Breathing out, returning. We have a neutral spine, no excessive arching in the lower back, shoulders down. Think about train track lines so the arm comes directly overhead. And my voice is shaking, really loading on the core here. Shaking's fine, just no spikes or pain. That's the time to absolutely stop. You're on the home stretch. See if we can give it a last little push. So ribs are together, navel back to spine. Trying to slow this movement down so you're moving for the whole length of the breath. Breathing in and out. Chin's nodded into the chest. So if it's difficult for you to keep that position, it's good to have the head slightly elevated, maybe on a block. We're on our last set, and then we hug the knees into the chest. Last side. And here, either hug the knees into the chest or take a full body stretch, whichever you feel you need to do. If you have a tendency to arch the spine there, hugging the knees in is usually nice, otherwise just stretch out those abdominal muscles, full body stretch, spread the toes. Come into a bent knee position. We're lowering the knees to one side and we're taking a chest clam, hand step. Now breathe in and open into a really wide stretch. Breathing out to clam close the arms. Option here, as you breathe in and open, you can extend the top leg and reach in that diagonal stretch from the toes of the lifted leg to the fingers overhead. Breathing out into your closed chest clamp. We're rolling on the back of the head. Got 2 more on this side. So we still get a rotation of the spine, but we're going a little bit deeper if we extend that top leg, a little bit deeper into the connective tissue. Last time, last big stretch, stretching in all directions. And then we return. So the other side, lowering your knees to one side, the other side, hands are stacked. Start with one chest clamp because there may be tightness of a different order on this side. Reaching far from one set of fingers to the other. Breathing out, closing. So it's an option only to extend the top leg and find that diagonal stretch across the body. So the hips are still stacking. We're rotating the spine, trying to get both shoulder blades on the floor before returning. Breathe in, stretch wide, and we breathe out to return. Head never lifts from the mat. So head fully supportive, no stress in the neck. Last one. Nice deep breath in and stretch in all directions. And then you can hug the knees into the chest. Then rock on the spine. Take your time. And just like that, half an hour gone.